All right, we're about to take a journey into one of the strangest places we all visit every single night, the world of our dreams. And our guide for this trip? None other than the famous and maybe a little infamous Sigmund Freud. He was convinced our dreams are speaking a secret language. So let's dive in and see if we can figure out what on earth they're trying to say. So let's start with a question that might feel a little unsettling. Have you ever had a dream like this, something violent or just plain bizarre, that makes you wake up and think, whoa, what is wrong with me? Well, according to Freud, you're not a monster. You're actually just getting a coded message from deep inside your own mind. And this right here is the heart of it all. This famous quote pretty much sums up Freud's entire theory. He argued that dreams aren't just random brain static firing off while you sleep. No way. He saw them as a direct, privileged pathway, a royal road straight into your unconscious. That hidden part of you that holds all your deepest wishes, your biggest fears, and all those unresolved conflicts. So, to actually walk down this royal road, the first thing you have to get is that every single dream we have is really two dreams in one. Okay, so on the surface, you've got what he called the manifest content. That's the bizarre movie your brain plays for you at night. The flying, the weird characters, the nonsensical plot you kind of remember when you wake up. But underneath all that weirdness lies the latent content. And this is what Freud was really obsessed with. It's the true hidden meaning, the raw psychological stuff that your brain is cleverly disguised. Think of it like this. The manifest dream is just a costume party for the real latent dream. So, if the real meaning is hidden, how exactly does our brain create these crazy disguises? Well, Freud called this whole process dream work. It's basically your brain acting like a sneaky film editor, using a few very clever tricks to censor the raw and sometimes shocking material. The first trick in the book is called condensation, and you can think of it like a mashup. Your brain takes two or more completely separate ideas, or worries, or even people, and just squishes them all together into one single, concentrated, and usually very, very weird dream symbol. For example, let's say you have this nightmare. It's your boss's face, but it's on your mom's body. And this bizarre hybrid person is screaming at you because you missed a family dinner. I mean, on the surface, that makes absolutely zero sense, right? But what's really going on here? Well, what this bizarre image means is that the dream has condensed two totally separate sources of stress into one symbol. You've got anxiety about a project deadline from your boss, and you've got guilt about not calling your mom back. Your brain just made it more efficient. Two anxieties, one monster. Now, the second major trick is called displacement. This is where your brain takes a really powerful, intense emotion, like pure rage or deep desire, that's aimed at someone important, and it redirects it onto a safer, less threatening target in the dream. It's like a psychological bait and switch. Which brings us right back to our opening dream. You're kicking a puppy. It feels awful. You wake up disturbed. The emotion in that dream, the intense rage, is very real. But is the target? According to Freud, probably not. See, the real target of your anger isn't the puppy at all. It's your roommate, whose snoring is driving you absolutely insane. But because actually fighting with the person you live with is, threatening and complicated, your brain displaces that anger onto a safer stand-in. So you're not a puppy hater. You just really, really need a quiet night's sleep. Now, Freud gave these censorship processes some technical names. Primary revision is that live distortion happening while you dream, the condensation and displacement we just talked about. But the censorship doesn't stop there. Then there's secondary revision, which is the editing your brain does the moment you wake up. It kind of smooths over the bizarre parts and conveniently makes you forget key details, all to make the dream less threatening to your conscious, waking mind. So we know our dreams are coded, but are there common codes? Freud thought so. And while he always insisted that your personal life context is king, he also identified a set of common symbols that seem to pop up again and again, acting as a kind of universal shorthand for the unconscious. So here's a quick little guide, just some of the classics. You've got upright, assertive objects like towers or swords, which he thought often represented masculine energy or were phallic symbols. Then you have enclosed spaces like caves or rooms, which could represent the womb or feminine imagery. Water often ties to our emotions or the unconscious itself. And a house is frequently a symbol for you, for the self, with the attic being your mind and the basement being your deep unconscious. Now, these are not rigid rules, but more like common cultural shortcuts your mind might be using. Okay, so our dreams disguise our anxieties, and they use all these symbols. But why? What's the end goal? What is the ultimate purpose of all this elaborate nocturnal theater? For Freud, the answer was surprisingly simple: wish fulfillment. He believed every single dream, no matter how scary or strange it seems, is at its core an attempt to fulfill a wish. It's like a safe, private stage where your unconscious mind gets to act out its deepest and often forbidden desires without any real-world consequences. And look, some dreams make this incredibly obvious. If you dream you win the lottery, and then your ex is suddenly desperate to get back together with you, well, that's not a complex code to crack. The dream is directly serving up your desires for financial freedom, for validation, and maybe just a little bit of sweet, sweet revenge. It's wish fulfillment in its purest form. And this brings us to a really crucial point. You have to pay attention to patterns. Freud placed a huge emphasis on recurring dreams. You know, if your brain is playing the same movie over and over again, whether it's being chased or showing up unprepared for a big exam, he believed that's your unconscious mind literally knocking on the door, holding up a giant neon sign that says, hey, we really, really need to deal with this. And that's really the final thought to leave you with. Dreams, in this Freudian view, aren't just passive entertainment. They're an active conversation with the deepest parts of yourself. So the next time a dream makes a return visit, just ask yourself, what message is so important that it needs to be sent again and again? What is your unconscious mind really, truly trying to tell you?